Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, Montana? Welcome in. 109 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Coulter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio, joined by my great friend and colleague, Ryan Tutel, riding shotgun with me for the next hour. I have no idea what we're going to talk about.
I think you're riding shotgun with me.
That's right. I'm riding shotgun with Ryan.
We're going back to the old days now, baby.
I got to sit in the back seat if Gus is driving. I got to hang out with Kai. He's got all the snacks. we will have some hockey coverage as promised. Hayden and Jeff will break down Stanley Cup playoffs as they do now once a week. Now they're in the heart of it. We will also have some track coverage for you. The regular season for outdoor track and field and the Big Sky Conference comes to an end this week. Montana State, it's funny, they got one of the premier track programs in the conference, and they get to host in the indoor a lot because they have an indoor facility. They get to host once during the outdoor because, well, most of the time, but it hasn't been that way this year. Most of the time it's winter until April in Bozeman. So usually they have their last and only home meet the last weekend of the regular season. That's what's going on. So the Grizz will be in Bozeman. So it's sort of a Cat-Grizz rivalry meet with also some other teams there. It's also sort of a last chance meet for a variety of different athletes, and also a chance for some of the top athletes for both schools to show their stuff with the one last tuner with the Big Sky Conference Championships on the horizon. So that's all here in hour number 2. But hour number 1, I just got one news brief for you, and then we will break down whatever Ryan has planned for us. Grizz softball team, they rode the roller coaster of the Big Sky tournament. They hit 6 home runs in game 1 to oust Weber State. Then they ran into a brick wall. They played the host Idaho State Bengals, and they got destroyed 10-1. So then their backs are against the wall, double elimination tournament. But the Grizz then rally from down 4 runs against Portland State, or 3 runs against Portland State. They win 9-3. Down 5 runs to Northern Colorado. They win 11-7, which then pushes it to the brink where winner goes to the championship game, loser goes home. So it's one of the either agony and ecstasy type games that occur at the conference championship every year. And the Grizz were down 10-2 in their last at bat. They smash another home run to set a school record for home runs in a year. They ended up scoring 5 runs, but the rally falls just short, 10-7. They lost to Sacramento State. Sacramento State, Idaho State will play for the Big Sky Tournament Championship. But I think all things considered, a great year for the Grizz softball team to be in the mix all the way until the last regular season weekend. Almost won the conference championship, and then take it all the way down the wire and essentially get 3rd place at the Big Sky Tournament. Huge steps forward in year 2 under Steph Ewing. I think that, Ryan, the only thing I wanted to ask you about is that if the Grizz would have won that, the 2 out of 3 against Idaho State at the end of the regular season, it would have given them the regular season championship, which then would have given them the rights to host next year. I think that the non-revenue sports are always going to have an uphill battle when it comes to finding, fandom and people that want to spend money on the tickets, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think that if there was a conference championship like that in Missoula, I think people would go out. I think they would turn out.
I think so too. I mean, it's a great facility because it's still very new, and the other thing is the non-revenue sports. You just got to stay in your lane. And fortunately for softball, the lane in Missoula and in Western Montana is pretty wide. I mean, this is a softball hotbed,
no doubt.
And that team was shot out of a cannon when they first came onto the scene, and were winning championships and outstanding, and created I think a pretty strong fan base.
Sure.
But I also think, you get into stuff that you do, right? Why do Dungeons and Dragons tournaments have 10,000 people at it? It's not because they're advertising. It's because people play,
no doubt.
Right? So if you got kids, girls playing softball, they want to go see what's happening at the highest level in this area. And again, I think the University of Montana, within both the location that we are here in terms of that sport, and also within the conference at large, I think they should always be a contending type of team at that level.
Well, that's right. And that's the thing that also is a selling point, right? Like, what has made so many of the sports at both Montana and Montana State popular when you can have local athletes or athletes from around the state?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, their best player, Anna Cockhill, she's a sophomore from Helena, Montana. Like, that's pretty cool. I think that's going to be a pretty big draw for the next couple of years. If you can go watch a gal who was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Montana, who's, she had an awesome year. She was first team all-conference as a sophomore. So, great step forward for the Grizz softball team. You're right. They were shot out of a cannon when they first started. When Jamie Pickerton left, they had some ebbs and flows, had some runs, but then they sort of fell on terrible times when they were like non-competitive for a couple of years. But now they've restarted it and sort of revamped it with Steph Ewing at the helm. And she was the Big Sky Coach of the Year in season 2, mostly playing freshmen and sophomores in her lineup. So I think that bodes well for the future of Grizz softball. All right, what are we going to start with here today, Captain?
I told you I'd send you an outline, and I did. I got nothing to do, so I sent you the greatest outline that's ever been created.
I think it was created by, I don't know, Claude?
It wasn't Claude.
Gemini?
No, it's way better than all of those.
Okay, Spock?
It was created by Spock.
I have no idea. I have been in utter refusal to use any of this sort of stuff.
Well, that's why your stuff doesn't look as good as my stuff. And that's not merely physical. That's also on the internet. So I should tell you though. I mean, so nobody's heard of Spock for the most part out here. Okay, but one of my very closest friends in the world is one of the founders of Spock, which is, to my understanding, the single largest AI platform in South Africa.
Wow. Okay.
How about that? They got contracts going out in Eswatini, which is formerly Swaziland, and Lesotho, the other enclave sovereign nation within South Africa. And baby, one believer right here in Missoula, Montana. And I'm telling you, it's I don't know if you know, the World Wide Web.
It's the
whole thing. So if you're on it, you can be on it anywhere from anywhere, right? That's the beauty of it. So, I'm not here to, I'm not trying to necessarily promote. I'm just telling a story.
Sure.
It's great to have this company. Okay, well, this is my friend. He's telling me a story. They got cease and desist from Netflix 18 months ago because they could generate movies that were on a level of oh, you're a competitor, but you did it in 3 hours for $1,000 when it took us 3 months and $50 million to do.
Wow, terrifying.
So it was I'm watching zoo animals running around Washington, D.C. that they just up and I'm like, wait, is this the news? This is just the news. But anyway, it's good stuff. And now they made us a great outline, Coulter.
It's great.
Spock.chat, they did it.
Convenience is something. It's some sort of addition to your life. I'm still uncertain if it's good or not.
Now, going back to 1897, let's do some radio.
Okay.
76 teams are now going to be in the NC2A men's and women's Division I basketball tournament. This news came down today. Now, interestingly, I thought this news actually came down 5 days ago.
Well,
but I think it was reported,
today.
And now it's been announced. Is that
it actually
the deal?
Was confirmed today. This is officially official now.
Officially official. So we go from 68 teams to 76 teams, which doesn't seem like that huge a number, although it actually is. There's 8 teams currently in the first 4.
Correct.
So even though it's a 68 team tournament, it's not double that. I mean, that is the number, but there's 8 teams playing for 4 spots to round out the 64-team field. Now there's going to be 24 teams playing for the 12 spots.
Sure. Right.
So that's where you get your 64 plus 12, and that creates 12 games, but it's going to involve 24 teams. Now, this outside of the money grabbers at the NC2A and maybe Auburn, who won 5 games in the SEC and felt really burnt that they didn't make it into the tournament. Everybody else seems to hate this like poison. Mm-hmm. I am not as angry about this as I would have guessed I would be.
Interesting.
And there's a handful of reasons, but I would like to know, first of all, your initial response to this and why.
Well, I have no emotional reaction to any of this stuff anymore because I think of AI the exact same way I think about the NCAA tournament, and that's the exact same way I think about the college football playoff. And that is, it doesn't matter what we think or how much we hate it.
Hold on. Football and the tournament and AI all got into this salad.
Yes.
Okay.
We can all hate it as much as we want and even agree that it will be our own demise, yet we won't stop until it's ruined.
Yeah, well, I mean,
what will ever stop this? Like there is a distinct possibility in the future that every Power 4 team, every Power 4 school makes the NCAA tournament and the college football playoff in every sport every year. That is a distinct possibility that could happen in the future. So then it's like, what's the point of any of it?
Well, that's a great question. Why doesn't the playoff start first game of the season? And then you're just in the playoffs all the way through.
2 years ago, the SEC had 14 of its 16 men's basketball teams qualify for the NCAA tournament.
That's right.
The team that finished 14th
wasn't
in the
enough.
SEC.
Wasn't enough. We need them all.
So what's the point of any of the games? Why don't we just practice in October, November, and December?
Well,
or why don't we just have like round robin tournaments or something? I mean, it just seems like if the thing that people say that they love about the NCAA tournament is Cinderella stories, then the farther the NCAA tournament expands, the less chance the Cinderella has to make a run.
I think that's true. Here's my other question, though. What's the lowest seed to ever make it to a national championship game?
8 seed.
Butler did it as an 8.
Butler did it as an 8. Villanova won the national championship as an 8 as well. Or Villanova in 1985.
So if our concern is to like ensure that the quote-unquote best team or a team that has a chance to win makes the field, we were already at over double that number at 64/68 teams.
Right.
I don't think, though, I think that's a concern in the football playoff to some extent.
Right.
Like, do you think that Notre Dame couldn't have won the national championship this past season if given an opportunity, looking at what Miami did and then obviously Indiana? Certainly not saying they would have been an underdog, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. It is outside the realm of possibility that Auburn or say the number 2 team in the Big Sky Conference can win the thing. So that obviously isn't what's at stake here.
Sure.
Okay. What the thing that would bother me the most about this is legitimately bad basketball teams.
Yes.
That are playing basketball in the NC2A tournament.
That's where we're going to march toward. And here's the distinct reality that exists in Division I athletics right now. The 2 easiest ways to have an elite basketball team is to either have a top 20 generating football team in terms of revenue, or to not have football at all. Those are the 2 schools that have the best chance. Those are the two sort of factions that have the best chance of actually having an elite basketball team. It's very, very hard. Like Gonzaga has had a huge advantage for all these years because they don't fund football. It all circles back around to so much of my opinions about this stuff is colored by the fact that I cover a league that used to have rich basketball tradition that now has 0 chance in the NCAA tournament ever. And it's because that league has reconciled itself to being a football league that's not playing the highest level of college football.
And this, from this chair here in Missoula, Montana, situated more broadly inside the Big Sky Conference, is, I think, the best argument to be okay, if not happy with this.
Really?
Because I don't know how the money is going to work, but about 5 years ago, maybe even a little more, when Tom Wistrcill took over as the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference, there was an explicit and genuine effort made to pour into basketball to try and get a win in the tournament because of the financial windfall and what that would mean. I don't know what the number is exactly. Maybe you do know what it is. But you basically get X million of dollars for your conference paid out over 6 years for every win that you have in the tournament.
Correct.
Well, if you're the Big Ten and you're getting an extra $400,000 because, say, Indiana won a game, it's a pittance. It's nothing to you. Your media rights deals swallow that up in the first 10 seconds of the first kickoff of the first football game.
Right.
That is a huge sum of money, relatively speaking,
it is,
to the Big Sky Conference. And the best opportunity that the Big Sky has had to get that was in the first four, when Montana State was in the first four and couldn't quite get it done against, who was it? Was
Prairie View A&M.
I thought it was Kennesaw. Didn't they play at Kennesaw State?
No, Prairie View A&M. Okay. They went down the wire. Prairie View A&M played in the play-in game 2 years in a row.
All right. Point being, it didn't happen. But that is the closest that it's been. Other than that, it's been a couple Travis DeCure teams that had the skill and ability to do it and got the most raw draws that you can get.
Yeah, well, Eastern Washington 2021, the post-COVID tournament when it was a single site in Indianapolis, they went down the wire with Kansas. Well, I shouldn't say down the wire, but they lost by 9 to Kansas, but they actually scored in the 80s, so it actually looked respectable.
Well, and I guess I should be clear. I didn't mean that necessarily in an individual game, but just, is this a team that could win a tournament game?
Yes, right.
There is now going to be, without question, the winner of the Big Sky Conference tournament is going to be playing a first 24 game in. It's going to be on 2 different sites. I assume Dayton's going to be one, and there's going to be another one.
So we're just sort of assuming that. So that's what I'm interested in. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX by television, and the ESPN MT app. That's what I'm interested in. Is the play-in games right now? 2 of them are for 16 seeds, 2 of them are for 11 seeds. Are we assuming that this is just going to be the play-ins for like 13 through 16 seeds, or do we know anything about?
We do know this much, and I'm not going to do the seeding part for sure. We can draw some conclusions, but this is a fact. It is going to be the 12 lowest automatic bids, which are almost always the 14 through 16, like 14, 15, 16 seeds, occupy those spots. And then it's going to be the 12 lowest at-large bids. So effectively, it is going to be exactly how it is above. Now, what will that mean for where those seedings land? Is it like 9 through 11? Is it 10 through 12 and 14 through 16? I'm not sure. I think it's going to be something like that. Is it going to be a reseed deal? I don't know.
Right.
And the other question I have is, right now, you have 2 teams who are, quote-unquote, both 11 seeds playing for an 11 seed.
Right.
Are you going to have a scenario where you have a 10 playing a 12, and the winner of that game takes a predetermined seed or takes the seed that they already have to a particular game? I'm not sure, but let's assume that it basically maps onto what already exists into into this wider first 2 days of the tournament on Tuesday and Wednesday. You could have legitimate chances at wins, because what's going to happen now? There's going to be more teams that aren't that are beatable, I guess is the way to say it, that are available, and at the very least, the games that you would be playing as a 14 or a 15 seed that you would have been playing against Michigan State or whoever it might be, you're going to have an opportunity against essentially a like opponent, and I'm assuming that that's still payout. That's where there is a question, because right now it has been that. With the expansion, are they still going to pay out those games as if they're the same as the tournament, which they have? And I think if you're going to say this is a 74-team tournament, you kind of need to. But that is one windfall potentially for the Big Sky Conference tournament. And the other question is it possible that the Big Sky could ever get a second team in?
Interesting thought from Commissioner Wistersill, the commissioner of the Big Sky Conference. He said, I am confident that the expansion of the NCAA Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments to 76 teams will prove to serve the Big Sky well. The opportunity to frequently play an opponent of similar stature in the opening round will certainly increase the likelihood of our tournament champions winning those games and thus earning additional revenue for our conference. Also, as we continue to grow our basketball profile, additional at-large spots, as you're speaking to, position us for the scenario in which a dominant team during the Big Sky regular season that doesn't win March Madness is more likely to find a pathway into March Madness. Finally, the benchmarking data of championship participation opportunities in all NCAA sports makes a compelling case for right-sizing the basketball tournament's field size to reflect the increased number of Division I institutions. I can understand that part. When the NCAA tournament expanded from 32 to 64 teams, I believe 44, 45, 46 years ago, sometime in the early 1980s, there was like 100-something less Division I schools. So Division I has grown to 360 plus participating members. The tournament has never grown more than just like the 4 play-in games.
Yeah.
So I can see that validity. I also, particularly on the women's side, the multiple bid thing is very interesting. Like, for example, the Big Sky Tournament Championship game in women's basketball this year, both Idaho and Montana State deserved to go to the NCAA tournament. Yeah. They were both top 60 in the net. They were both, Idaho was a 29-win team. Montana State was a 27-win team. I mean, they were legitimately top 60 teams. They both deserve to be in there, but the Big Sky hasn't gotten 2 teams in 30 years.
Yeah.
This would actually give an opportunity for that. That I am for.
Here's the thing, though, and this is my worry on that, because we're already talking about the 12 lowest automatic bids, which is going to be the Big Sky winner every year. Is going you can put this in granite.
Sure.
The team that wins the Big Sky Conference tournament in Boise is going to this first 2 days of tournament
on the
play.
men's side, certainly.
On the men's side, yes. Yeah. The thing that is concerning to me is that the expansion is for the at-large teams is basically letting in. Am I getting my math right? I think it's going to be 6 more teams that are at-large teams.
Right.
It just feels like it's going to be the 15th best SEC team and the 13th best Big Ten team, not the second best Big Sky team.
It's just going to set us up for the scenario where a team goes 5-13 in conference, but because they played 8 top 25 teams, because the Big Ten has 8 top 25 teams in it, their strength of schedule that gets them in the tournament, even if they have a 500 or below 500 record.
Yeah, and it is what it is. The other reason that I think this happens, quite honestly, is because of football and specifically the NFL.
Sure.
You said sure, but you don't even know why I'm saying that yet. You can't sure me and then not know why.
Because I fear that's all college sports is becoming, is just the second tier of professional sports. What
I am saying to you is that this further dilutes what is already completely water diluted the regular season of college basketball.
Yes.
But the reason that people don't care about college basketball, to me, is in the regular season, is less about, everybody's going to the tournament anyway, so these games don't matter, and more about, we're preoccupied. We got football going, man. Talk to me after the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Come check in with me. Come check in with me then. And again, nobody. You already talked about 300 and how many teams?
I think 365, 370.
Jay Billis is the only man on planet Earth who knows about all of them. The only guy, right? That's it. No one knows. At most, you know about your team and maybe a rival.
Sure.
Okay. You get an opportunity now, though, to follow your team all the way through. You don't care about the landscape of college basketball at large and see if you have another opportunity, and it all comes in at this time. Is it insane to have 76 teams? Sure, I guess so. But also, what's the metric by which we cut it off? Like, what is the heart? Like, what are the things you can drill down and say, this is why it should be 48 or 32 or 64? I think there's plenty of valid reasons you can come up with, but are they more valid than this? And as we know, too, this is the only thing. The NCAA has left, man.
Yes.
This is it.
Right.
So they gotta try and milk the cow as best they can and try and, and I'm not necessarily saying it's the way the world is, man. I'm not going to say it's good or bad. It's just, this is the world. So, okay, fine. But are there reasons why this could be good? Yes. Are there reasons it's not going to be good? Certainly. But I'm not going to sit here and just pound the table in disgust and angst over this.
Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. Ryan Tutel chiming in here. We're also on SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT. I appreciate you for hanging out with us. It's a Thursday. It means it's a Thirsty Thursday. We got a $25 gift card for you to DraftWorks Brewing. All you got to do is text us and let us know what you want us to talk about. 406-888-1029. 888-1029. Text us. Let us know what you want us to talk about. And Ryan will be hanging out with us here for the next half an hour or so.
You want me to do the hook? Are you ready to get out to the next segment, or you got something else to say?
No, let's go.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Coulter will do the thing in the world he's worst at next.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the uniquely designed and well-equipped 2024 Buick Encore GX with models starting at $28,895. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to demorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Encores and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
It's easy to see why Montana is the treasure state. At the University of Montana, we look inside. We see an old truth with fresh eyes, that Montana's greatest treasure is its people. So whatever tomorrow brings, we meet it the only way we know how, with a mind for making. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Course of Missoula.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Grizz softball team fought to the bitter end before finally falling just short at the Big Sky Conference Tournament. Hello, I am Coulter Nuanez. Grizz softball had their backs against the wall after a 10-1 loss to host Idaho State on Monday in the double elimination tournament. Montana kept fighting, winning a 9-3 win over Portland State and an 11-7 win over Northern Colorado to set up a winner to the tournament championship contest against third-seeded Sacramento State. Even when Montana found itself down 10-2 in the final at-bat, the Grizz kept swinging. Mackenzie Bukowski hit a 2-run home run, UM's single-season record 51st of the season, to spark a rally that only ended after the Grizz closed the threat with 5 runs to cut the lead to 10-7. The loss ends Montana's season and boosts Sac State into Thursday's winner-take-all championship series with Idaho State. One ISU win will give the Bengals an NCAA tournament bid, while 2 wins by the Hornets will send Sac to the national tournament. The Grizz run this week was reminiscent of the 2017 team when Montana had its first breakthrough season, advancing to the NCAA West Regional in just the 3rd season as a softball program. This year, Montana was just 1 win away from a regular season championship and 1 win away from playing for the conference tournament championship. Second-year head coach Steph Ewing won Big Sky Conference Coach of the Year honors, and many of Montana's best players are underclassmen, expected to return next season. For more on Grizz softball, tune in to 102.9 ESPN Radio at 4 p.m. today.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club.
1, 2,
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
All right, Hayden, our producer and program director, is just not used to me being in this chair. Okay, I'm ready to get out. We're sitting there in 5 seconds of silence, which feels like 7 eons.
It's like, what's going on?
You know, just waiting for the da-da-da. He's like, well, I thought you were going to say new. No, come on. Let's stick with it here back there, boys. Okay, you can't chit-chat with each other. You got to pay attention to the show. All right, this is where the action is, not back there. Nobody can even see you. It's
Nuanez Now.
There it is.
102.9 ESPN Radio.
That's also why I'm not going to say it.
Hanging out with us here on this Thursday. Thursday, probably presented by DraftWorks. You want a $25 gift card to DraftWorks Brewing. All you got to do is text us, 406-888-1029. Just had a great meeting with the boys down there at DraftWorks. You got to remember this. DraftWorks makes some of the best brews you're going to find in Montana, no question about it. But the Up With Montana lager that they make, that is distinctly and exclusively an NIL beer. So you drink a beer, you benefit a student athlete. You buy a six-pack, they donate part of the proceeds back to the NIL and the revenue sharing at the University of Montana. So if you're a Grizz supporter, be sure you're keeping up with your supply of Up With Montana lager. If you're wondering what kind of beer it is, it's just a rebranding of their Mexican lager. So if you're somebody that likes to drink, the Mexican styles of beer, why not just drink a local one and also help give back to Grizz Athletics? Appreciate DraftWorks for their continued support of all things sports talk across all of our various channels. All right,
absolutely.
What's next? So, Ryan's steering the ship here today.
That's right.
Because I'm out of good ideas. That's why you guys got to text us and tell us what you want us to talk about.
This is you're crowdsourcing the work
that's
now,
right,
huh?
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Good choice. I did that. You sit here and you hate AI. That's literally what it's there to do.
Well, but these people
you
don't have artificial intelligence. They have real intelligence.
My daughter Zoe. We're walking to school. She's like, why do I even have to go? I can just ask the computer, and it tells me everything. I don't need to know anything. And you know what my response was? I'm dumbfounded. I'm like, yeah, well, you're right. You pretty much nailed it. But guess what? You're going because I need to cook. All right. So, Coulter, I said, I want to find, there's so few weaknesses that you have.
Well,
so few.
Thank you.
And so I was like, I got to find one. I got to put it out there. So I said, no, I wanted to know, and this is real. I wanted to know the best sports/work story from you in your life in this last year. Okay. And I texted you that because to ask you that in real time, and you got to sit here and stew, and then the silence we had going out of the last break seems like instantaneous compared to a minute of you hemming and hawing around. But here's the thing. You go to literally more events that are Big Sky Conference, University of Montana, Montana State, high school stuff than probably, honestly, anybody. Probably anybody.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of other stuff that's sort of finger out and related to that. So I wanted to know, not the best game that you went to, the Brawl 2 or whatever it might be, but just like something that happened that maybe people don't know about, but that you're like, this was cool. I got to do this. I got to talk to this person. Now, I have a guess on what it was.
Okay.
On what it is.
Because
you know what I told you the plan. You have an answer
I have an answer, yes. What do you think it is?
I think it was watching Joey Bosa warm up on the field prior to the Raiders.
Nick Bosa.
Excuse me. Yeah. Anybody named Bosa in the Raiders San Francisco preseason game, which also would have been just the entry point to that whole thing. I mean, to have a Montana State kid and a Montana kid, one represented on each team, playing each other absolutely coincidentally in a preseason game where it all comes together in Vegas, where direct flights. Right, and you can go down and cover it. That is a cool experience, and I was thinking that might be high on your list.
Certainly was under consideration, no question. A story within a story there. You know me, I'm late to everything. we were not
it's
late.
It's amazing you're here now.
We were not late. We were, in fact, 4 hours early because I got many pieces of advice. First of all, our good buddy Blake Hempstead, who was taking photos for me that weekend, he has 6,000 pounds of camera gear, so that was going to take at least an hour to get through a security.
At least it's not hot.
Into the, I mean, man, by the time we got it all hauled up there in the middle of the day in Vegas, we were peaches. Thank God we both brought extra shirts. But this is a story within a story, and then I'll actually get to my real favorite memory. But we get there early, and distinct pleasure to be there and to seeing all the pro athletes, but also just looking around and you're realizing it wasn't just Junior Bergen for the 49ers and Tommy Mellott for the Las Vegas Raiders, but also there's my good college buddy, Colt Anderson. And I get to talk to him, and I get to see his family. They were there.
For sure.
And then you look over the other sideline. There's Tom McMahon, a guy that's helped me a lot in my career. He's been a great source for me as sort of a Montana connection to the NFL. A guy that's been in the NFL for almost 30 years, a special teams coach who's from Helena. So that was really cool to see that experience. But then we go up to, so it was the Raiders Hall of Fame weekend. So they had all these great Hall of Famers.
Everybody, Marcus Allen.
So one of my favorite memories of my entire career was the Bobcats used to host this fundraiser like auction/dinner in Great Falls called the Triangle Classic. More than 1,000 people would go to it, but they would always have a keynote speaker, and it was always a big shot NFL, like former NFL guy.
Yeah.
So I got to meet everybody from Dick Butkus to Rod Woodson to Jim Kelly to Thurman Thomas.
Yeah.
Most often those guys would give their speech and then they would just go about their thing and they would leave. The guy who thought Great Falls, Montana was the coolest was Eric Dickerson. So I actually got to go out in Great Falls for several hours. Like we were old buddies or something, and we went to the Sip and Dip, and we had some sodas, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Eric Dickerson is then sitting there in his suite with Marcus Allen and a couple other Raiders dignitaries. And I was like, you know what? I got to just go talk to him. I got to just go say hi and see if he remembers this. So I go over there. I'm like, Eric, good to see you. We met 13 years ago at the thing in Great Falls, Montana. He goes, oh my God, the mermaids.
That unforgettable. You can't not
the mermaids at the bar. He starts telling Marcus Allen, he's like, dude, there's this bar in Montana where there's a pool and there's these women that swim and it's the mermaids and they have this piano Pat. Rest in peace, Piano Pat. She passed away.
Yes, indeed.
But I was like, that's so great that he remembered it. And so then I was like, oh, I'm on cloud nine. Eric Dickerson remembers. So then I go upstairs.
Well, he remembered the mermaid.
He remembers the mermaid in Great Falls. Right, sure, whatever.
Right.
But then he goes. I go upstairs, and then I'm in the media suite. That's pretty cool. But Baron Davis is a person that has always been a fervent Raiders fan because they used to be in L.A. For those that are too young to remember this. Yeah. But Baron Davis is, he's from inner city L.A. He's a legend among legends in the Inglewood area, like playing in the Drew League and all that sort of stuff. Played at UCLA. Well, Baron Davis now has a Raiders podcast. So he was a credentialed media member. So I'm standing in line to get some food, and I'm like, Baron Davis. And he's like, yeah, man, what's up? Where are you from? I told him. He's like, how do you know who I am? I'm like, well, because you're Baron Davis. And he's like, man, I'm so old now, nobody remembers me. I was like, well, I remember you. Like, I used to play with you on video games all the time. Like, and so that was pretty fun too. But
the other thing too, and I know that we haven't even gotten to your actual thing yet.
Sure.
And you don't have to do this right now, but it is worth noting. In the NFL now, it has gone a certain direction, which I'm very pleased with, which it has been one of the huge draws in baseball forever, and that's the park.
Sure.
And Allegiant Stadium
sick
being, it got overshadowed because I believe it opened the same year that SoFi opened, and SoFi is a doggone city.
Right.
I mean, it's just insane. But Allegiant Stadium, I mean, the black, what's the Star Wars thing? What's
the Death Star.
Yeah, the Death Star.
Yeah.
And I've driven past Allegiant Stadium quite a number of times, and it's unmissable. Even in a Vegas setting, it's like, oh, yep, there it is. It's just this giant dark, it looks like a glistening dark onyx. Is onyx can be black? I don't know. Don't ask me about the rocks. But that's got to be an unbelievable stadium and setting to just go in and walk around and check out and be like, wow, this place is wild.
Yeah, totally. And the only challenge that they face is now getting it to be 68,000 Raiders fans instead of 27,000 Raiders fans and 30,000 of whoever else they're playing.
And everybody else who took the cheap flight in. Yeah, exactly. All right, Coulter, what's the number one story?
It's sort of a conglomeration of events, but I did think that from the second to last weekend of the regular season through the national championship game in Nashville was quite an unbelievable display for the pride that exists in the state of Montana for football. And I thought just being able to be any part of that was incredibly gratifying. To cover an ESPN national game under the lights at Bobcat Stadium between two top 5 teams in Montana State and UC Davis, and then for the Cats to win that, to set the stage for perhaps the most hyped Brawl of the Wild that we've ever seen, and then to see those teams then navigate the playoffs and see the playoff wins that happened in Missoula and in Bozeman, to then have another collision. Because we'd teased for 20 years about what would actually happen if these two teams played in the playoffs. Would this be a space-time continuum that would make the world explode?
Would rip, yes.
And it couldn't have been more perfect, just in the way that it all played out. Not the results, but just the fact that, with the exception of the fourth quarter of the second rematch, I thought both teams played exceptionally well. I thought the game lived up to its hype all the way around. But more than anything, just being there front and center with our college game day in Missoula, and then doing the college game day with you in Bozeman before the second brawl, but then also to go to Nashville and see the way that Montanans showed out in full force, and to just have any sort of small hand and be able to tell that story, but also having so many of you guys out there that are listening come up and tell us that you're listening. I mean, we're sitting here broadcasting to millions of people around the world right now. We don't get to see you every day.
Yeah.
To be able to get to see everybody, though, and having them come over and say hi and say thank you and appreciate the work and appreciate all the stuff that we try to do to keep people informed and having fun. It was incredibly gratifying, and it was really, really cool to see it. And I hope someday there is a chance that, I don't know if this ever could happen, but maybe it could, that Nashville could be the site of a brawl for the national championship, because I think that would be unbelievable the way that both fan bases would show out. But I thought just sort of being able to be immersed in all of the hype that was incredibly gratifying and fun experience.
Well, it was certainly the greatest event certainly the greatest event that I covered this past year, and probably it's in the conversation forever. And it is also interesting to me, it's rare that during, and it's even rarer that before the thing happens, that you are about to experience history. And not just, every week 5 game goes down in a record book and we know what the score was. But that this is going to be an experience that's going to be a benchmark for all time in this arena, in the world of football in the state of Montana, and everybody who cares about it. And to know that, obviously, for ourselves and to cover it and to be there, but also all the other people who were also there knew it too. And I think that drew a lot of personal history and experience and care from a lot of fans who, this is why I'm invested in this thing. This is why I wanted it. And they want to talk to not just us, everybody.
Right.
You want to share stories about this time and that time, and that's the moment, that's the place, that's the setting, greater than ever before to do it, is in that spot on those weekends, and especially in a national champion semifinal that had never happened before, obviously, between these two teams, to be like, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening. And it makes me reminisce. It makes me nostalgic. It makes me think about this. Man, I remember when you said this, or I didn't know this about that person, and thanks for saying that. And it opens a window to people that I think wouldn't have happened in an ordinary circumstance, or even in the annual brawl setting. And so I thought it was really special.
And I think a lot of times we make a lot of the demise of society through the lens of technology. But there's some parts about technology and social media specifically that is so unbelievable in its ability to connect people and to share information. So we had the distinct pleasure of being invited to this alumni reunion in Nashville, and there was more than 300 former Cat players there. And again, if you're a Grizz person listening to this, I just really hope the Grizz get to experience something like this as well, because I know it'll be very, very similar, where you have people from all over the country coming. But to have guys walk up because 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when there's no distribution methods and no way to archive it, you can say whatever you want on the radio, nobody's ever going to hear it again because it's not getting recorded, it's not getting distributed. Yeah. But to have, like, Paul Dennehy, the quarterback of the 1976 national championship team, come over and say, man, I love listening to your guys' shows. Like, this is great. Brent Swagger, who was an All-American in the early 2000s, lives in Minnesota. I listen to your show every day. Like, how cool is that somebody can listen and keep up with stuff? Not just the college angle, but the high school angles and keep up with their high school and stuff like that. That part about technology is so great. So that was also a very fun part of that whole deal. But I really, this last football season was, at the same time, so emotionally draining because there was such pivotal moments that happened over and over and over again, but at the same time also so rewarding and gratifying, so it was super fun.
That's awesome. Okay, now Hayden, last time we had just this just horrific empty space of time, just the most pregnant of pause. That pause was having twins. Okay, so I'm about to throw to break, and I'll appreciate it if you got your hand on the button back there and are ready to hit the thing. Can I get a thumbs up? Great, thank you very much. It's Nuanez Now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, is the FCS being diluted? A dovetail conversation with my dear friend Colter Nuanez next.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John?
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Association.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. Guest hosting for 45 minutes, Ryan Tutel, alongside guest co-host Colton Nuanez.
What do you think about the fact that you're branded as like the dark music guy?
I mean, it doesn't bother me.
But you're not a dark person, even though you are dark in your musical tastes.
That's true.
It's interesting.
We don't have time for this right now.
No, we don't.
But I think you've outlined it well. You know, like, I'm a light person. I'm filled with optimism and joy, and I've got love for everyone and everything. And occasionally, I like a little darkness.
It's good.
Okay, is that I don't think that's a problem.
That's why film and music is important. It teaches you all about all sorts of different elements of life.
That's right. We got just about 5 minutes left here, buddy, and we've talked about this, you and I, on the Big Sky Breakdown. We've talked about it personally. We've talked about it on the show. And I think it's an ongoing conversation and a valid one. But I also listened to your conversation with our buddy Sam Herder from Hero Sports, which was a great conversation. You can go back and look it up on the podcast. But the extended conversation of now that the NFL draft is over, and like the fewest NFL draftees from the FCS ever,
second fewest,
almost.
Yeah. Least number of schools overall represented as well. So it's not just the FCS; it was also the Power Four that was the group of five that was sort of ignored as well.
And then more poignantly, Michael Wortham is going to get a look. Couple other guys getting invites to camps, but not. No slam dunks, certainly no drafted guys. Even the guys that were drafted last year didn't end up making, the rosters for clubs. Juniors still, in the practice squad and that. But I guess the point is like this idea that there's a delusion of talent of the FCS at large, largely attributed to the NIL and guys going for money at a higher level when they could have stayed and done the same thing in terms of where they got drafted, but not had nearly the income while they were playing college football that they're having. And also at Montana State, and around the Big Sky Conference, I mean, just no NFL, no slam dunk NFL talent to speak of in certainly this past season and where that's at. And I realize, again, this fits the everything's getting worse, everything's falling apart at the seams, what do we do with 76 teams in the tournament, why do we even have a regular season stuff? And that's okay, and there is very real legitimacy to guys who have been at the Big Sky Conference level who who grow and develop and play great, and then they have an opportunity to have a payday and they get poached from, whatever Big 12 or Big 10 or whatever school it is. That's true. But I also wanted to get your thoughts on the following. Historically speaking, all of the NFL, not all, but a vast majority of the NFL talent that has trafficked through Missoula and Bozeman has been dudes who were born in the state of Montana, man. Truth. And I think you just get lucky because Troy Anderson's from Dillon. Right. And Colt Anderson's from Butte, and on down the line, Chase Reynolds, right?
Sure.
So there's so many guys, and I guess the point is, it's been exceedingly rare that a recruited kid from out of state has come to Montana or Montana State, stayed the whole time and developed, and then gone on to be that guy to the NFL. It's like
Alex Singleton is the outlier here, compared to all these other guys that we could name that are from Montana that played at the Montana schools.
And I think that obviously the NIL stuff is going to be a draw, but you look at a Taco Dollar. Now I don't know what his NFL prospects are going to be. He's slight, but he's good. He's going to get a look. And he had every opportunity to go and, I mean, he balled out on the biggest stage you can ball out on at this level, and had offers and big dollars. He said, no, I'm staying. And obviously that's buy into the program, but it's also, you're from here, man. Like you're where you want to be. And I think that there is going to be more of those guys, they're gonna stay. And it's not. I think It's not nothing that this stuff happens. It does happen, but I also think it's a little bit anecdotal, or it's a little bit outside of the reality. It's not a new reality that we live in. It's just happenstance.
Well, two thoughts there. One, I agree with you. I do think that the biggest chance for a revival of drafted players out of the Montana schools are going to be the guys from Montana that stay in Montana. I agree. I agree with that premise. I also think, though, there's been a little bit of a regression to the mean in terms of the positions of guys that are both being coveted from the FCS to go to the FBS, and also the decisions of players to do so. We saw it with Junior Bergen. He got offered by multiple Power Fives, but the only guarantee they gave him is that you're going to be able to catch punts for us.
Right.
Everything else, we don't know.
Yeah.
I think Taco Deller's probably in that same boat. Like, he could have probably gone to Oregon, but was he going to actually be the starting slot receiver, or is he going to be, the 6th receiver and not get a chance to catch a bunch of balls? I don't think it's coincidence that the 7 most prolific quarterbacks in the FCS are coming back to their schools. Justin Lamson, Kaylee Ayat, Bo Brumgard, those guys all got offered a bunch of money. Chase Mason at South Dakota State, those guys all got offered money. That is facts. But they came back, familiarity with the system, coaches that believe in them, but also just the sort of the notion, like, what if you do transfer to wherever, North Carolina or something, Ole Miss, and you don't play? Or you do play and you throw 16 touchdowns instead of 45, right?
Right.
It's the Eli Gilman proxy.
Yeah.
If Gilman does what he's supposed to do this year and stays healthy, he's rushing for 1,500 to 2,000 yards. He's scoring 20 to 25 touchdowns. Yeah. And he's going to break all the records at Montana. And then all of a sudden he's going to have a resume that says, well, I outrushed Lex Hilliard, draft pick. Justin Green, draft pick. Chase Reynolds, 6 years in the NFL. I broke all those guys' records. Give me a shot. That's a different resume than maybe you go to Georgia. But like Isaiah Fonte is a great example. He was Montana State's all-time leading rusher. He goes to Cal. He's fine.
Yeah.
600 yards and 5 touchdowns or something. Whatever. We never heard from him again after that. And so I think that there's a lot of the skill guys that are going to choose to stay because it's – I think if you're a big guy, it's almost a requirement that you move up because you got to have film against other guys that are going to the NFL. If you're a defensive tackle or an offensive tackle, like that was the whole thing that held Alex Gubner at Montana and Marcus Ware at Montana State back. Oh, we watch your film, you're killing everybody. But who is the guy that you're killing? It doesn't matter. Where if you go play at Ohio State or Michigan State, now all of a sudden you're going against NFL guys every single time, week in and week out. So I do think it's going to be position dependent and also where you're from dependent as well.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see how this stuff goes. I guess all I want to say, since I am Mr. Optimism and Joy, there's going to be a lot more NFL players coming through the state of Montana and through the Big Sky as well. Just hold tight. NDSU is gone. Western Florida is in. These things change, and there's kids being born every day. So that's the way it goes.
Well, one of the last points that deserved being made is that the best team in the country last year that won the national championship, they only had 8 seniors on their team. They only had 4 guys that did their pro day. So like a lot of the best NFL prospects still play for the Bobcats.
Still here.
That's the problem for the state and the rest of the Big Sky, but that's a big advantage for Montana State. So we'll see, certainly. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. Good to see you.
I'd throw it to the next thing, but I don't know. I only wrote the show for this hour, so you're going to have to figure it out and deal with these guys back here.
Hour 1 of the books, hour 2 coming at you. Hayden Smith, Jeff Safford talking all things Stanley Cup playoffs. Nice. On the other side, we also have Lyle Weiss, the head coach of the Montana State Track and Field program, to help preview the Tom Gage Classic, which is the regular season finale for both Montana and Montana State on the track. That's all next. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Grizz softball team fought to the bitter end before finally falling just short at the Big Sky Conference Tournament. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Grizz softball had their backs against the wall after a 10-1 loss to host Idaho State on Monday in the double elimination tournament. Montana kept fighting, winning a 9-3 win over Portland State and an 11-7 win over Northern Colorado to set up a winner to the tournament championship contest against third-seeded Sacramento State. Even when Montana found itself down 10-2 in the final at-bat, the Grizz kept swinging. Mackenzie Bukowski hit a 2-run home run, UM's single-season record 51st of the season, to spark a rally that only ended after the Grizz closed the threat with 5 runs to cut the lead to 10-7. The loss ends Montana's season and boosts Sac State into Thursday's winner-take-all championship series with Idaho State. One ISU win will give the Bengals an NCAA tournament bid, while 2 wins by the Hornets will send Sac to the national tournament. The Grizz run this week was reminiscent of the 2017 team when Montana had its first breakthrough season, advancing to the NCAA West Regional in just the 3rd season as a softball program. This year, Montana was just 1 win away from a regular season championship and 1 win away from playing for the conference tournament championship. Second-year head coach Steph Ewing won Big Sky Conference Coach of the Year honors, and many of Montana's best players are underclassmen, expected to return next season. For more on Grizz softball, tune in to 102.9 ESPN Radio at 4 p.m. today.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only bears that should be in your garbage. If you're missing the first hour of the show, well, impromptu, Ryan Tutel steering the ship for us. He made the plan. We talked it out. Appreciate it for swinging by. That's all in the Nuanez Now podcast. We talked everything from NCAA tournament expansion to some of our favorite personal memories from the sporting year that was, to the potential and projected decline of NFL talent that's coming through the Big Sky Conference. All of it on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We got some hockey, we got some track. We'll start with the stick and puck. The experts sat down earlier today.
We're on to round 2 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we've seen a battle of the Blade Gangs. What the heck are these guys? We've been finding out about them in Buffalo. We'll talk about the Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens a little bit later. In this segment, Hayden Smith and Jeff Safford talking some NHL Stanley Cup hockey. Round 2 underway throughout the NHL in the East and West. We'll see a Game 3 tonight and some more coming on Friday to get your weekend going. Hayden, what's your early thoughts on the second round?
I mean, it's been really exciting. Obviously, the Avs Wild series has not disappointed, I think, from anyone's expectations. And I think the rest of them have kind of been what I anticipated from a lot of those teams. That Buffalo looked great. The Canes look like the Canes right now. They're playing some great hockey right now. And, I think, it's been great, man.
In the East, the Buffalo Sabres get off to a good start in Game 1 last night. They get a win 4-2 over the Montreal Canadiens. They lead that series 1-0. Hayden alluded to the Canes and Philadelphia. The Hurricanes leading that series over Philly 2-0. Philly returns to home ice tonight looking to get out of a hole. That's going to be a mountain to climb, though.
It's a big one.
The lone game on the docket tonight, actually, in Stanley Cup action. Then shifting things out west, interestingly enough, Anaheim and Vegas are tied up at 1 in a way that I was not expecting. The Ducks winning last night because of defense? What? That wasn't something I was expecting, thinking about what they had been doing this season. One of the bottom-ranked teams in the league had a shutout going into the final 6 seconds, a goal that meant nothing for the Vegas Golden Knights, maybe affecting over-unders or something like that. I don't know.
I think it's just a nice goal, too, just to kind of get the guys going for the following game, right? You're thinking ahead now going down. Dropping that game. So I think, just in terms of just getting a little bit confidence going for those guys to get a 5-on-5 goal at the end, I think could be a big deal.
So the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks are tied at 1. That series continues on Friday night from SoCal in Orange County. That's going to be an interesting barn over there. Shifting things to the Midwest, the Colorado Avalanche, they protect home ice and then some against the Minnesota Wild. Winning both games at home, they lead that series 2-0. That series will continue on Saturday. A bit of a prolonged break in that series, and something I think for the Wild they desperately need. We'll get to that series at the tail end of this segment, but Minnesota on home ice, they seem to be up against the wall.
They got to get it done. I mean, this is, as Cale Makar said, this is the toughest game. You know, that's going to be a team that's playing with a lot of desperation, especially in front of their home crowd. I think there's definitely some question marks there in terms of what we're going to see for goaltending in that one. I would imagine Wallstead comes back out there, but you never know. There was definitely a little flip around there. After that first game, it was expected that Wallstead would play, especially after what the head coach said in terms of just, defending his guy, and then they kind of made a quick little switch around. So that'll be interesting to see what that looks like.
So we'll get to those playoff series throughout the course of this segment, but also some news thinking about the offseason in the NHL with the draft lottery taking place this week, and a big surprise thinking about who got the top spot in that lottery, and it definitely will impact how things go in this offseason with the Toronto Maple Leafs winning the draft lottery.
Yeah, I mean, that was shocking, truly. Toronto has made the playoffs 10 of the last 12 years, I should say, and the 2 times they have not, they've had the first overall pick. So definitely some luck on that end. Matthews was their other one. You would imagine that Gavin McKenna is going to be the first overall pick. I don't know if that's going to change Matthews' thoughts on whether or not he wants to stick around. I know there's a little bit of question marks there, especially with the change in GM and maybe a little bit of unhappiness in the way that they've probably built that team around him. But good for Toronto, man. I'm happy for him. But, man, Vancouver, those guys cannot catch a break. I mean, it is just they had the best chance to get the first overall this year. They've had 10 chances since 2014, and they have lost every single time. I mean, those guys, it's just brutal luck on their end.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable to think about the math behind that they've been in that scenario so many times, and The numbers just stacked against them every time. That's just wild.
They have been involved in 16 lotteries. They have moved down 7 times, and they've stayed in the same spot 9 times. They have never once in their history moved up in the draft. Over the last 10 lotteries that they've been in since 2014, which they've lost all of them, they've had a 98.7% chance to at least win one of those. 98.7. So they have to be, right now, the most unlucky team there is in the NHL in terms of the draft. And for a team that is just terrible. I mean, they're terrible. I mean, it's just the worst luck you can imagine for them, and I just feel terrible for Vancouver fans, but that's professional sports, man, and sometimes you just got to roll with the punches.
Another team that really was a loser in this draft lottery, I thought as well, was the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough one to drop fourth. You don't feel as bad for them. Obviously, they've had a lot of success the last couple of years, Connor Bedard being the big dog that they picked up, and They've got a lot of work as well, definitely putting some players around him. I think he had kind of that sophomore slump the way that Nathan MacKinnon did. Obviously not, he's not the player that Nathan MacKinnon is. Obviously a very different type of guy. Not the bulldog, but what an incredible shot that he has. But, I feel bad for Chicago, but definitely not to the extent that I would for the Nucks for sure.
A team that was on the right side of things, maybe lucky number 7, the San Jose Sharks. They move all the way up to number 2, and that's really a team that I think a lot of people, specifically in the Bay Area, already feeling good about this squad. Even though they didn't make the playoffs, you had Macklin, Celebrini, and others, these young, talented players that were awesome for the Sharks this year, and now potentially another guy to add to the fray.
Yeah, Stenberg's probably going to be the guy that goes second overall, but my question really is, San Jose's in a position right now where they've got, Celebrini among other really, good guys. And do they trade that second overall pick to become competitive sooner? And I think that's a really valid argument. I could see it going either way, but definitely some question marks for San Jose in terms of what they want to do. I think, if they're really looking at it, bolstering their defensive side of things would be really important for them. I know Morgan Riley's probably on the trade block on the Toronto end. Maybe Erik Karlsson's available from the Penguins. So I definitely think that they have some question marks in terms of what they actually want to do with that second overall pick, and if they're going to let it go and maybe try to go for a run next year.
I would seem to lean towards the latter, just thinking about that Bay Area community and how much they love hockey. That is an arena there, the Shark Tank. It's known throughout the NHL to be a tough place to play. And you got these young, talented, offensive-minded players really starting to come into their own in the NHL. I would think they would want to hammer the win now button if you're the Sharks, because you got some big dogs already. If you can add some more oomph to that roster, some, maybe as you alluded to him, some defensive depth to really go around those offensive players, that could be a great combo there in San Jose.
No, I totally agree. And I think what's going to help kind of dictate that decision, too, is you kind of got to read the room, right? I mean, what does the Florida Panthers look like next year? Does Colorado lose a lot of guys after going on this run? I mean, I just think it depends on what everyone else looks like, and maybe they think like, hey, we think we have a true chance. I think a lot of these teams have lost a lot of their depth, and maybe we can make a push this year. And if they don't necessarily feel that way, maybe they do look maybe towards the future. And, Celebrini's, 20 years old? I mean, he's a young guy. He's probably the most valuable player on earth right now, just in terms of the overall age and the production that he has right now, and the fact that he'll probably be, 100 or near 100 points for the next 10 to 15 years. They've got a tough choice to make. I mean, Stenberg's a great player. He's certainly not a Macklin Celebrini, right? But you only get a Macklin Celebrini every 10 years in the draft. So I definitely think it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. And they definitely have a good future either way. So.
Hockey Talk here on ESPN Missoula. Hayden Smith and myself, Jeff Safford. Also some news outside of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Norris Trophy finalists, thinking about the defensive side of things, Cale Makar, Rasmus Dahlin, and Zach Werenski, the 3 finalists. Makar, of course, from the Avalanche, Dahlin with the Buffalo Sabres, and Werenski, the only man not in the Stanley Cup playoffs, a member of the Columbus Jackets. Makar's 6th nomination. He's looking for a second straight trophy, but this one definitely not chalk for Makar.
Oh, definitely not. I definitely think Zach Werenski probably has the best chance to get it. The Norris, I think, is kind of like the MVP in the terms of, what defenseman's the most valuable player to his team. I definitely think it was a little surprising to not see either Evan Bouchard or Quinn Hughes in there as well. And don't get me wrong, as you know, and we talk about him all the time, I'm huge on Rasmus Dahlin. I love him. He's a great player. He's having a great season so far. He went through a lot of stuff this year with his wife, getting a heart transplant, among other things that's going on. So I think it would be a really good feel-good story for him to win it as well. And, Cale Makar is the best defenseman on earth, so if he wins it, it's not surprising to me. But, in my opinion, I think Zach Werenski or Dahlin probably deserves it more this year.
Be interesting to see who takes home the hardware. It is cool to see 2 of the 3 players also competing in these second-round playoff series. Let's start to take a peek at it. Last night we saw the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens get their series going. Buffalo in front of a raucous crowd there at KeyBank Arena in Buffalo. They get off to a hot start. The power play finally does something for the Sabres, scoring twice in that win, 4-2. But man, what a scene in Buffalo.
Man, it is. That stadium is electric right now. It looks so much fun. I wish I could, go to a couple of those games just to kind of get a feel for it. You got the Blade Gang all fired up because of
both sides.
On both sides, the way this is all going. But yeah, you can't not be happy for Buffalo. That's a city and a team that's been hungry for success for the last 15-ish years, and they're finally having it right now, and it's just awesome to see. It really is.
If you haven't seen the videos on social media, do yourself a favor and check them out. The pregame videos from outside the arena there in Buffalo are absolutely crazy. Hayden, we've got grown men in full-on hockey uniforms doing fake fights, face-offs. We got mannequins getting slammed through tables, all of the Bills Mafia. Mm-hmm. It's insane.
These guys need a win, man. The Bills have been disappointing the last couple years.
Right.
And, when you've got a guy like Josh Allen, it's a must-win situation, and obviously they lose a tough one to the Broncos, but that's a city that's hungry for some wins, and it's definitely a hockey city. I don't think people realize how big of a hockey city it really has been. I know it maybe doesn't feel that way with them losing the last 15 years, but they love their hockey over there, and man, they are clearly showing it right now. They are very fired up, and I think they're going to continue to be fired up because Buffalo looks great right now.
Yeah, I think the 2 highlights of what I saw from outside the arena, someone in a full-on goalie setup, the pads, the helmet, the whole thing, power bombing a mannequin dressed in a Canadiens uniform, and then a Cole Caulfield dummy getting stabbed with a beer saber. What in the world is going on there in Buffalo?
Well, I'll tell you what, that Cole Caulfield jinx is working because he hasn't scored a goal in the last 8 games. And for a guy that had 51 in the regular season, not scoring in 8 games in the playoffs is, I wouldn't say unacceptable. You definitely think that top line probably has got to get going a little bit more. But yeah, Buffalo's look great. Bo Byram, he was a guy that got traded over from Colorado. He's got 4 goals already in the postseason, which ties the Sabres' postseason record for goals for a defenseman already, and they're only a game or 2 into the second round there. Jordan Greenway, in terms of depth guys stepping up, he had his first goal in 4 years for them. I thought that was a great play for him, just to kind of get a little bit confidence going for those third, fourth line guys. But like I said, man, that Habs top line, when Caulfield has 51 goals, you expect him to score every other game in the playoffs, and he just simply hasn't done that right now. I think for game 2, I would imagine that top line probably has a lot of pressure on them to get going.
Speaking of pressure, maybe some taken off Buffalo with their power play unit finally getting going, 2 goals in that win. How big is that for them just to see some positive results?
Oh, it's huge. We saw it with Colorado with the Wild, right, where that power play is just suffering. And honestly, I think we saw it a bit with Anaheim last night where you just look for the perfect play. When things aren't going your way, you're just, you're feeding the puck around up top and maybe you don't get as many shots on as you want. I think when everything's flowing and pucks are going in the net, guys just get a little bit more greedy and they just start firing pucks, which is ultimately what you really need on the power plays. They're not all going to be pretty, man. Most times goalies don't get beat clean. You got to just get pucks on net and you got to whack in rebounds. And I do think Buffalo's doing a better job of just getting pucks to the net and doing what they need to do.
Now, obviously, this game not going Montreal's way. They did have one highlight, though, Kirby Datch's goal there was it the third period when he was on his stomach just kind of flipping it top shelf. That was one of the best goals I've seen this playoffs.
Yeah, no, he's a monster, man. And obviously Nick Suzuki had a nice little tapping on the back post on, I believe, their power play as well. But I mean, Buffalo controlled the game the whole time. I mean, they were up 2-0. You know, the Habs get one late in the first period to go down 2-1, and you know they're up 4-1 after that. Buffalo, I should say, and you know they carried that game the whole way. So I would imagine the Habs definitely needs to make a big push here in Game 2 to really have a chance, because I think Buffalo is hungry as could be, and they're definitely not going to back down, especially Game 2 at home. I mean, we know that barn's going to be crazy again.
Yeah, I think you could say that. Who knows what we'll see from the Blade Gangs for Game 2 now that they've had a chance to really get themselves, I guess you could say, comfortable there in Buffalo. But if you're the Habs, you did a few things correct. I mean, they continued their success at the faceoff dot, like we saw in that series against Tampa Bay, and it must just be tough to come off a Game 7 win on the road the way they did to be locked in for that Game 1. So we'll see what happens in Game 2 of that series, Buffalo leading 1-0. The one game on the docket tonight, it is out east. Philadelphia at home taking on Carolina. The Canes lead that series 2-0, and for teams in a 2-0 deficit, that has been a tough mountain to climb. With teams with a record of 363-58, that's winning a series 86% of the time. And thinking about what Philadelphia did in Game 2, letting one slip away, that is just tough for them.
Yeah, I mean, that was a must-win game for them. Obviously, you go up 2-0 in, 5 minutes, and then, you know, the guys get a little undisciplined, start going to the box. And the Flyers, I mean, this isn't, unusual for the Flyers. I mean, they had only had one goal in the last 8 periods of play before that game. So, I mean, getting those two felt like they were just due for it. And, I mean, the Penguins series was, really tight, not a lot of goals. The 5-on-5 for the Flyers really does just have to get going. Carolina just looks great. I mean, Freddie Anderson looks awesome. All the guys that they got from the Mikko Rantanen trade in terms of Logan Stankoven and Taylor Hall. I mean, is there anyone hotter in the playoffs right now than Logan Stankoven? I mean, he is just on an absolute tear. And then Taylor Hall is just banging in the OT winners in Game 2 as well. So, you know what? Obviously, you look at that Mikko Rantanen trade, and there was a lot of pieces there, obviously, with Colorado and the Canes and the Stars. But you could probably make the argument right now that the Canes may have won that trade with the Mikko Rantanen debacle. Logan Stankoven, I mean, he just fits their system so incredibly well. I mean, people, I think, forget about Taylor Hall, but he won a Hart Trophy many, many years ago. So, I mean, this is a guy he's an absolute gamer. He knows what to do in those big situations, and he proved it there in that overtime winner in Game 2.
And Mikko Rantanen has the little bit of a question mark around him as well, as he was playing through, I believe it was an MCL injury in that first round series against the Wild. So who knows where his health is going to be down the road as well.
No, for sure. You know, a lot of that stuff is pretty routine. He's not a guy that necessarily relies on his speed as much as a lot of other guys. I mean, there's a reason why they call him the Moose. I mean, he's 6'4", 220 pounds, whatever he is. I think Mikko will be okay. I don't think he was necessarily as much of a problem when the Dallas Stars lost to the Wild. I just think they were beat up. I mean, you don't have Rope Hinson, who definitely would have helped Mikko Rantanen get the puck rolling more into the net. You're losing Tyler Seguin. I mean, I just think they had too many guys hurt. I'm not going to put that one as much on Mikko, to be honest.
Stanley Cup Hockey Talk, ESPN Radio Missoula, Hayden Smith and Jeff Safford. Philadelphia returning home. They trail 2-0. They do got Grimace to help them out there in that home barn in Philadelphia, the big 7-foot mascot we were talking about last week on this segment.
Oh, Gritty.
Oh, Gritty. They're going to need something to turn this series around. One thing I think that would be big for Philadelphia, if some of their young talent that came out so hot the first couple of games of the playoffs, they've gotten cold here recently. If some of those young players can get going again, I think that would be huge for Philly.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Bennett Seneca had that first one. That's on the other series. I think Trevor Zegras definitely needs to get going. He's been great so far in the playoffs. Carolina's just really tough, dude. I mean, they're just a great team. They have a ton of depth. In my opinion, they're probably the second best team in the league, and it's not like they don't have Freddie Anderson standing on his head right now. I don't see a reality right now where the Flyers can come back in this series, to be honest. I think their 5-on-5 is, I mean, like I said earlier, one goal in 8 periods is not going to win hockey games, especially against the Canes team that plays really, really tough behind a coach in Rod Brindamore that's just an absolute monster. They have a tough road ahead of them. I would imagine that it's obvious, but this is an absolute must-win game for them. If they go down 3-0, there is absolutely no chance. There's no Penguins situation where they win 2 games and force Game 6 or anything like that. They're going to get obliterated if they go down 3-0. So Carolina is just great, man. It's not even a knock on Philly. I think this is a great run for them. I mean, they beat the Penguins. They beat Sidney Crosby. I mean, I think that was really exciting for their fans. But Carolina's been a team that's been in the hunt for many years now, and it shows. They're playing hungry right now. They're playing angry, and they're definitely going to get this series done, I think.
Puck drop tonight from Philadelphia, Game 3, trying to stay out of a 3-0 hole. That is the only game on the docket on a Thursday night for Stanley Cup hockey. Saw an interesting Game 2 last night, shifting now to the Western Conference. The Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Anaheim Ducks. It was a game won by Anaheim 3-1, and Vegas shut out until there were only 6 seconds left in that third period. Mark Stone getting a tip-in top shelf. As Hayden alluded to, a nice ending to that game, but Anaheim seemingly out of nowhere with a defensive performance like that on the road.
Yeah, I mean, both defenses has honestly looked great. And the PKs, I mean, there was a lot of penalties, especially early in that first period where, I mean, there was a 5-on-3 and then it goes the other way for Vegas over and over again. So tons of penalties there. PKs both look really good. I think the young guys on Anaheim look really good right now. I mean, Leo Carlson, he's going to be a superstar in the next couple years. Brent Howden obviously didn't have one in the last game, but he had the first one in the first game for Vegas, and I would imagine that he gets going again as well. But Vegas has so many great players. I don't think they're going to worry too much about this game. I mean, it was a 2-0 game, right? It's not like they got blown out or anything like that. Just a few pucks go the wrong way. I mean, I mentioned Bennett Seneca, but he kind of just had a garbage goal. There wasn't a goal until like 8 minutes left in the second period. So, I mean, there was no goals for really the entirety of the first half. So it's just a great defensive battle right now. And I think the first goal means so much in this game because it just completely changes the way that Anaheim can play defense. They can just play a little bit more trap. I mean, I would say probably 6-7 minutes left in the third period. I mean, Vegas had a lot of good looks on that power play, right? And you just see Anaheim, and they're all just stacked in front of the net, just eating pucks, not allowing anything to get through. So they're playing for each other right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch for Anaheim. I think they're actually pretty well-balanced teams, but I just think that the experience for Vegas is going to prevail in the end, and Mark Stone and Jack Eichel and all those fellas are going to start to get going. William Karlsson, he's a great little addition. He's been out for a while as well, so I think Vegas will turn it on, but none of these games are going to be blowouts. They're all going to be tight, 4-2, 3-1 games, I believe.
Yeah, it's nice that Vegas has been able to have a lot of success on the penalty kill. I think they've killed off 19 straight against Anaheim, but that's a lot of penalties, and that can really mess up a flow for a team in the game. And that's something that Coach Tortorella touched on after the game, that they just weren't really able to get into their sets because they spent so much time in the box early in that game.
For sure. I mean, it can go both ways too, right? Because I think big kills can also be a momentum push for that team. Like, all right, we killed this penalty, especially that big 5-on-3 that they killed early in the first period. But, I mean, you're not going to win being in the box. And Torts knows. I mean, he's a guy that is very knowledgeable about the game. And he doesn't really seem to be, trying to change anything up too much. I think he does trust a lot of that senior experience on Vegas. And I bet you they'll tighten a lot of that up for game 3.
One thing I find interesting, too, is that John Tortorella, the last couple of games, has been messing around with the top couple of lines, thinking about forwards and wingers. Do you see anything in that, or do you think of it as a red flag at all?
I mean, when you play a whole game and you're not scoring any goals, I don't think it's like crazy to change things up at all. The power play hasn't really been cooking either. Obviously, you're not going to be changing that up, but when things are going great, 5-on-5, you gotta mix some guys up, give some different looks, see if some different chemistry looks good. And I mean, that's just being a coach, man. You gotta make little changes when you think it's necessary. And I think those guys, I mean, it's not like some of these guys haven't been coached by Torts before, so they knew what they were expecting coming in here. He's not going to change up too much stuff, but if you're not scoring 5-on-5 goals, you got to change some stuff up. It's ridiculous to not do anything about it.
You know what the definition of an insanity is, right? Doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We'll see what Vegas has got for a Friday night there in Orange County. Series tied at 1 game apiece. I think that game could really be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be a great game. I mean, they've all been great games. They just haven't been, crack hockey like the Avs versus the Wild, where you're just expecting a goal every 2 minutes, and it's just absolutely ridiculous to watch. But yeah, it's just a different style of hockey. I mean, the East and the West both really, it's kind of funny how that goes. But yeah, I mean, it's playoff hockey, man. I mean, they're usually playoff hockey's not super high scoring. You just don't see it a lot. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's just Vegas is tough, man, and I think they're going to continue to do that. I think they're going to figure out their 5-on-5, and I do think they're going to take down Anaheim eventually here.
Well, probably from Hayden's perspective, we're saving the best for last, thinking about the Colorado Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild. They also don't get going again until Saturday, so it's the last team we'll see recording this on a Thursday in the next couple of days. Minnesota Wild hoping to return to St. Paul to find the fire from the first round, as it hasn't gone their way in the first 2 games from Colorado, trailing that series 2-0. And the Wild, you alluded to it, seeing that game 1 involving 15 goals on both sides. Both teams came out firing again in game 2, got quieted to a degree, I guess you could say, in a 5-2 win for the Avalanche. But just about everything seemingly on Colorado's side. And man, to me, just one decision in between the pipes has completely set the tone for the first couple games of this series.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I did expect to see Wallstedt back in there for game 2. You know, I know he gave up 8 goals, but it's not like Wedgwood didn't give up 6, right? I think that if you're in a situation where it was more like a 9-2 game, maybe you can have that conversation with your goaltender. But, I mean, the Wild left him out to dry a lot. Now, you can say in that third period, the Cale Makar shot was definitely screened by Boldy, so I don't think that he necessarily saw that one coming. But, I mean, you got to save the Kadri shot. And the other one you got to save, I mean, they scored the first 2 shots of the game. I mean, Marty Necas just kind of skates through everyone and just sends kind of a soft backhand through a bunch of bodies, and it finds the top right corner. And you just, that's a save you got to make. So I do think that Wallstedt not playing was definitely impactful in that game too. What do I think that the Wild would have won with Wallstedt in? No, I don't necessarily think that. I think the Avs still would have found a way to get it done, but I do think that it is a little bit demoralizing, especially for a young guy, to get pulled like that after giving up 8, and now you got to spend 5 days thinking about that game before hopefully he can get back out there. And the other thing I want to say is, I know that I'm an Avalanche fan, but I think any hockey fan on earth, when you see 15 goals in a game, that's freaking fun, man. I mean, the Makar versus Hughes matchup is just pure cinema. I think that every hockey fan on earth wanted to see that, especially with kind of the conversations between those guys being who's the best defenseman on earth. McKinnon is playing at another level right now. I don't want to say he's the best player on earth, because I don't typically think that he is, but I think when you have a Nathan McKinnon that's as engaged as he is right now, where he's obliterating Matt Boldy on the boards, and he's smashing Quinn Hughes in the zone, and then he's also scoring 3 points in the game. I mean, he might not be the best player on earth, but he certainly, in my opinion, is the most impactful player on the ice right now. I mean, he had the most 5-on-5 points in 35 years since Wayne Gretzky had 103. He had 97 this year. He's just a monster. I mean, they're playing so angry right now. You know, he looks like Matt Boldy handed him that stuffy personally, the way that he's smashing him into the boards. It's just great hockey, man. So much fun to watch.
And what a better way to get a bench and a team around you if you're a guy like a Nathan McKinnon. As you alluded to, he's the guy that's the speedy skater, the goal scorer. And if he's in there working hard with the lunch pail, just beating guys around, that's exactly how you get a team firing, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure. I mean, when you see that, your best players getting physical and playing hard, I mean, that's just going to get everyone else engaged the same way. I also want to say that I think just, obviously they're only 6 wins in, but just seeing, how much Gabe Landeskog impacts that team as well.
Stop it.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, McKinnon's just gassing him up after the game, and Landy's just had enough of it, man. He's just like, no more of this. I'm over it. No one makes McKinnon laugh like that. It's so funny to see him being like that in a presser, because I think 6 years ago you'd have never seen him like that. He's just such an intense person in general. I think Landeskog just really brings a lightness to that locker room right now, which I think is just invaluable to that team. And they're a wagon, man. I mean, they're an absolute wagon. The Wild are such a good hockey team. I mean, they've got superstars across the board, Matt Boldy, Kirill Kaprizov, Quinn Hughes, and it's just still not enough to stop this team right now. And it's impressive what Colorado's doing right now.
On the flip side for Minnesota, one thing that to me has been missing for them has just been this kind of edge that they played with in that series against the Dallas Stars. Just this physical nature, and at times, you alluded to how there was the Avalanche being the aggressors, laying the bodies and delivering those physical blows. To me, the Wild have to find a little bit more of that edge on especially their home ice to hopefully get themselves back into the series.
Oh, I completely agree. I do think that, the Avalanche had a 4-game sweep against the LA Kings, and then they basically just hung out for a week. In the other side of it, the Minnesota Wild were in an absolute battle with the Dallas Stars. And as a result of that, Eric Sinek and Jonas Brodin are hurt for Minnesota. And I do think that's, Eric Sinek's their top-line center. And when you're missing your top-line center in, playing against a guy like Nathan McKinnon, I think that it's really, really going to show. So I think that this 3-day break for Minnesota, which I don't know this for sure, but I believe it's the longest break that they've had since the playoffs started, probably gives them a chance to get a couple of those guys back in. I don't think Brodin's coming back from what I've seen, but I do think Eric Sinek has a chance to get back, and just him coming back, he's a great defensive player, would help them a lot for sure. So it's it's a privilege to play 4 games and then hang out for a week, and I definitely think that Colorado is enjoying the benefits of that.
One thing that I think will be pivotal in this Game 3 will be how things start out, for a few reasons. A, who are we going to see in between the pipes for Minnesota? And if the Avs, whoever's in there, if the Avs come out with a quick start against Minnesota in that Game 3, I would think from a mental standpoint that will be extremely tough to try to fight off.
Oh, for sure. 5-on-5, they're the best team in the league, right? So I think the only chance, if you go down, especially go down too early against the Avs in the first or second period, you got to get them to go to the box, and they're one of the most disciplined teams in the league in terms of that. So I definitely think that you're right. They're going to have to come out with a really hot start. I think honestly, Quinn Hughes might be playing too much right now, especially with Brodin hurt. So I think that maybe giving him those 3 days would help a lot to get his legs back under him. He's probably played 35 minutes every single game this playoffs, and that's just not sustainable when you're expecting to play, 24 games in a postseason. They got some work to do, and I think these 3 days could help them a lot. But it also gives Colorado more time to get healthy, too. Josh Manson, he's been out the last couple games. I would anticipate him coming back as well to kind of help bolster the top 4 that Colorado has. And, he's the one that hits people. Did McKinnon have more hits than anyone on the Wild last game? He may have. So it's not like they're really missing the hitting, but you just get another guy in there that can just lay body and cause mayhem. And it's just nice for Colorado to have. They're just so deep across the board. I just don't know how you compete with them right now. And I don't think anyone other than really the Canes has a chance to beat them in 4 games, because they are just simply so good, top to bottom. When you have a guy like Nazem Kadri, your third-line center, that just shows just the true depth that they have, and no one else has that right now in this league.
Well, they'll be fired up with some juicy Lucy's there in St. Paul, either way on Saturday. Stanley Cup hockey with Hayden Smith and Jeff Safford here on a Thursday afternoon, 102.9 ESPN Missoula. We keep it cooking on a Thursday after this.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John, can you hear me? John?
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
The Grizz softball team fought to the bitter end before finally falling just short at the Big Sky Conference Tournament. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Grizz softball had their backs against the wall after a 10-1 loss to host Idaho State on Monday in the double elimination tournament. Montana kept fighting, winning a 9-3 win over Portland State and an 11-7 win over Northern Colorado to set up a winner to the tournament championship contest against third-seeded Sacramento State. Even when Montana found itself down 10-2 in the final at-bat, the Grizz kept swinging. Mackenzie Bukowski hit a 2-run home run, UM's single-season record 51st of the season, to spark a rally that only ended after the Grizz closed the threat with 5 runs to cut the lead to 10-7. The loss ends Montana's season and boosts Sac State into Thursday's winner-take-all championship series with Idaho State. One ISU win will give the Bengals an NCAA tournament bid, while 2 wins by the Hornets will send Sac to the national tournament. The Grizz run this week was reminiscent of the 2017 team when Montana had its first breakthrough season, advancing to the NCAA West Regional in just the 3rd season as a softball program. This year, Montana was just 1 win away from a regular season championship and 1 win away from playing for the conference tournament championship. Second-year head coach Steph Ewing won Big Sky Conference Coach of the Year honors, and many of Montana's best players are underclassmen, expected to return next season. For more on Grizz softball, tune in to 102.9 ESPN Radio at 4 p.m. today.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. 1, 2, 3. Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
All of a sudden, we're towards the end of the outdoor track and field season. Conference championships right around the corner, and then the regionals, then into nationals. But first, the Tom Gage Classic coming up in Bozeman this weekend. The head coach of Montana State Track and Field, Lyle Weiss, joining us here on Nuanez Now. Coach, appreciate the time. How's it going?
I'm doing well. Yeah, the season is going fast, but we're excited about the Tom Gage Invitational and then heading into their conference championships.
Well, we have to start with the young lady who's made headlines basically every week on this show. We have a Tuesday segment where we feature some of the best individual performances from the week, and it seems like every week Cindy Brewster has been the Big Sky Outdoor Field Athlete of the Week. She's won it 4 times in, I think, 5 or 6 weeks so far this outdoor season. She did it again this last week with another record-breaking throw, this time in the discus after putting the shot put mark way out there multiple times already during the indoor and outdoor seasons. So tell us about Sydney. She's been on the show a couple times, but from your perspective, what's helped her reach this unbelievable level she's competing at right now?
Well, obviously, she has a lot of ability. She's also very coachable. Coach Jen Allen has done a great job of working with Sydney, and they together have accomplished some incredible things. But yeah, even beyond the marks, that entire throws group, and really across our entire team, but especially in that throws group, Sydney has set and raised the bar so much that, both men and women in that throws group have gotten to an incredible level, and really the best group in the conference.
There's been such great tradition of throws at Montana State over the years. I mean, Mike Kerrigan had so many great throwers during his time as the throws coach there. And I know Jen Allen's just continued to sort of build upon that. So how much do you think this sort of the history of success plays into that? And how hard is it to raise a standard when the standard has been so high for that group for so many years?
Yeah, definitely Coach Kerrigan. Had such a tradition of success in the throws. Coach Kerrigan was Coach Allen's coach when she was competing here at Montana State. So, I think she has really wanted to keep building and keep moving forward. The other thing is the track and field at the NCAA level just keeps getting better and better. So Coach Allen, having been coached by Coach Kerrigan, she really wants to continue that legacy of great throwers. She obviously learned so much from Coach Kerrigan through the years. The other thing was with the NCAA track and field is everything keeps getting better and better, like what it takes to get into national meets, regional meets, what kind of across the board. So it's incredibly important that we improve as well, just to, keep up.
Well, that's one thing that I've been so fascinated by in the sport of track and field is like the upward trajectory of almost every event. Like you even look at it, Montana high school track right now. I mean, it used to be you'd hardly ever see a guy run under 11 seconds in the 100, and now there's like 10 guys that are running in like the 10.5, 10.6s, and it's everything. It's all the different events. And I know there's a couple events out there with, some pretty unbreakable like world records, like on the very, very top level, but it seems like almost across the board, though, everything is getting better. What is that a testament to? Is it science? Is it training? Is it just the evolution of humans? Like what do you think has got track going at such a high level right now?
I think it's really a combination of everything. I think it's the availability of information, science. I know where I said it, but the availability of information, like everyone kind of knows what everyone else is doing. And a lot of people are just building on what other people have done. They, what in the distance running world, a lot of the distance runners see what other people are doing for a workout on Strava. And it's just there instantly. And they're, taking that next step forward, want to do the same thing in their practice. So it is really difficult at times even to recruit for specific events, because there could be when someone came in and you're recruiting them out of high school, like their mark would be up near the top of the conference, and 2 or 3 years later they might be just fighting to get in the top 8.
Hi, Luis, Montana State Track and Field joining us. Tom Gates Classic coming up on Friday in Bozeman, the final regular season outdoor meet for a variety of teams around the region. Well, so then when you do have this like constant improvement, how do you is it about recruiting natural talent and then honing it? Like, how do you find an edge when it comes to training, since so many people are doing so much of the same stuff? I mean, you guys could be doing Olympic workouts if you want to, because that information is available, right? So how do you sort of find an edge when it comes to developing athletes?
Yeah, I think there, it comes down to recruiting and then coaching. And then it's really important to have it kind of comes back to culture in a lot of ways of kind of having that culture of constant improvement and supporting of teammates, because everyone knows what everyone else is doing. A lot of the same things are available, but if your team is more supportive of each other, then you can have that little leg up on your competition.
Well, a couple of the other events that you guys have put up some big marks recently, Ed, I wanted to ask you about. First of all, the 400 meters. I've been so impressed with the 400 meter runners in the conference this year on the women's side. I mean, everybody's threatening or breaking school records, it seems like. So how much do you think that sort of collection, there's some great ones at Montana, there's some great ones for the Bobcats. Like how much do you think that collection sort of pushes each other forward? And how much do you think that's going to be one of the events to watch, I think, women's 400 meters at the outdoor championships?
Yeah, it wasn't just a few years ago, there was hardly anyone running in the 52s, and now there are a number threatening to get under 53 seconds. So, I think it's certainly one of the events where competition is pushing other people forward. I think it's just building upon itself.
What athletes have you seen that are maybe either knocking on the door of a breakthrough or that have had big breakthroughs these last couple of weeks? And what do you hope to see out of them this weekend in sort of the last tune-up before the conference championships?
Yeah, I would say team-wide, I think our men's team really performed well at the Big Sky Indoor Conference Championships, or at least better than they'd been performing during the regular season. And I kind of anticipate that same thing will happen. So I think team-wide, our men's team will take big steps forward. Some of that will show in the Tom Gage meet, but then more of it will show at the conference championships. But I don't know. I think it's really kind of across the board. Like, going into the conference championships, our women are going to have an opportunity to compete for a conference championship. And, if they go out there and compete to their best ability, they'll be right in it. So that's exciting. And, if our guys can, step it up, they can be really competitive at the conference championships as well.
You have been competitive, especially at the outdoors, and you won the championship before too. So, I mean, how much do you think that plays into the confidence that your men's team does bring into the sort of these postseason meets?
Yeah, I think it's always easier to do something when you've done it before, and generally speaking, we tend the events that are added to the outdoor season that are not in the indoor season tend to be strong events for us. I think both our men's and women's teams will head into the conference championships with a lot of confidence and knowing that they can go there and have a lot of success.
Well, when it comes to just the opportunity to host, then I know that's few and far between during the spring in Bozeman, but this is always a fun meet and always a sort of a fun finale to the regular season. So what are you hoping to see on Friday, and what are you most looking forward to just about the Tom Gage Classic coming back to Bozeman?
Yeah, so it is really fun to host track and field meets. This will be our only home outdoor meet. And it's really going to be the distance and the throws will be competing pretty much all of our athletes. And then the jumps and the sprints, some of them will be not competing because next week are our conference championships, and like the multis are going to start next Wednesday. So it's a bit of a last chance meet, but the throws and the distance events will be pretty full go, and there should be some really solid performances there.
Well, certainly going to be fun to follow along, and some of the best athletes in the state will be competing in Bozeman. Lyle Weiss, the head coach of Bobcat Track and Field, joining us here on Nuanez Now. Coach, we really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for chiming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair. Restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky Country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. UM launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Well, I guess introduce myself for at least a little while here at the tail end of Nuanez Now. Thanks for joining us here on a Friday. It's been a fun show. Jeff Safford back in studio with you here at ESPN Radio. Had a lot of hockey talk here in this second hour of Nuanez Now. A whole lot of I guess you could say, fired up Ryan Tutel in hour number one. He was just firing, wasn't he? He was all over Colter Nuanez, even jumping down the back of Hayden Smith, giving him a hard time. It wasn't his fault, missing that break. It was a technical glitch. It wasn't on him. When the break was about 5 seconds tardy, it wasn't on Hayden Smith. So, Goose Fraba, Ryan Tutel, you were awesome. Goose Fraba, just keep her chill here in the studio at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Having fun here towards the end. Got some NBA playoff action taking you to the end of this 5 o'clock hour. How about the Detroit Pistons? I think everybody kind of left them for dead with how they fell behind 3-1 against Orlando. They come back, they win Game 7, and they're winning by 7 over the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first half, 36-29, trying to take a 2-0 series lead in that Eastern semi. So we'll see if they can get that done. LA, they're dead, I think, tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hammer, whatever the line is, for OKC at home. Also, some Stanley Cup hockey coming up right about now, a 6 o'clock puck drop. We'll see if Philly can get it done against Carolina. We'll see you tomorrow for more Nuanez Now, 102.9